right, welcome everybody to the October 17th, 2025 PRTPO, Peninsula Regional Transportation Planning Organization Executive Board meeting. I am the chair for a couple more months, Lindsay Schroman-Warren for City of Port Angeles. We'll start with a welcome and introductions. So welcome everybody. We were cheering when Wendy came because you helped us meet our quorum. Thank you. And so I was going to say for introductions, let's go around and which jurisdiction you represent, and also a underappreciated piece of transportation infrastructure in our region. And it's okay to repeat what others say, but if you can come up with a new one, that's even more exciting. So my underappreciated transportation infrastructure is the zigzag and the stairs between downtown Port Angeles, and they go up the bluff and then they connect to the high density residential area just above the bluff and make for important transportation infrastructure for pedestrians. How about let's start in Clallam County, not because I'm biased or anything. And then we'll head kind of southeast from there. So Mike, you actually live in Port Angeles. I hope that's okay to tell everybody.
Hello, Mike French, Clallam County Commissioner. I do live in Port Angeles, and I'm actually going to say the Olympic Discovery Trail, not, most of the time people view it as a recreation infrastructure, but there's a really significant people that commute on the ODT on a daily basis between Port Angeles and Swim.
Thank you. Jason, go ahead, Clallam Transit.
Hello, Lindsay, and everyone else. I apologize. I just came out of one meeting and into this meeting, so I don't exactly know where we are in the discussion.
That wasn't fair. We're just introducing ourselves and we'll come back to you. I was asking people to share an underappreciated transportation infrastructure. So Mike mentioned the Discovery Trail. Wendy.
Hi, everyone. I actually have my video and my audio on, which is great. So I'm Wendy Clark-Getson. I'm the Transportation Program Manager for Jamestown's Clallam Tribe. And I think an underappreciated transportation facility that I'm endeared to is the Dean Creek Bridge for the Olympic Discovery Trail. And the reason why I've chosen that, because I believe it was it created an obstacle in the trail for a number of years. And it was part of a restoration project that was to bring the salmon back up Dean Creek and Jimmy Come Lately creeks at the bottom of Swim Bay. And it all goes hand in hand with salmon, as well as trying to create a safe passing across a stream, as well as the whole notion of what you can't see. The tribe does not own that bridge, nor does the land that's underneath it. It was through a partnership that the ODT crosses over Dean Creek. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. And Michael and Ed, you're both unmuted. Just FYI. Let's see. And let's go to, where'd you go on my screen? Rachel in Sequim.
There, Rachel Anderson. I'm the Deputy Mayor of the City of Sequim. Walking is my favorite mode of transportation, and right off of the ODT through Carrie Blake Park, there is the Shiso, the Sequim Shiso Friendship Garden, and that is actually, I think, really underappreciated. Just a nice little area to walk through. It's so scenic and beautiful, and I love it.
Thank you, Jason. Back to you.
Well, thank you. I would probably say the West End, just for the Olympic Discovery Trail, just having the ability to move along that and connect with the rest of the county is really nice. I love the recreational aspect and spend my weekends doing that a lot. Really enjoy having that growth in that area.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone from Clallam or who wants to claim Clallam County? All right, over to Jefferson County. How about Nicole?
Hello, I'm Nicole Gauthier, General Manager for Jefferson Transit. I'm gonna tag on to a lot of what has been said already, but the ODT. But for me specifically, I'm really excited because Jefferson County is working on connecting the ODT right in front of and on Jefferson Transit property. So I think in the next 2 weeks, we'll be starting that project. And I say we, not Jefferson Transit, but Jefferson County. I'm not in the business of building trails, but we have given them the ability to do that on our property. And we're so excited to be able to welcome folks to our park and ride and to see more activity along the front of our property. So.
Thank you, Ben.
I've been from Fort Townsend here. I guess I would think of all the places, like the collective places where the transit services overlap and connect at. I think those are particularly useful and beneficial, of course, to this group. Very useful in connecting counties and getting through the whole peninsula.
And Ben, that's an impressive array of wine bottles behind you. I got to get up to Jefferson County.
I'm at work. I make wine for a living. So this is at the winery.
If you join the executive committee,
oh yeah.
sometimes you can see Ben actually making the wine in process during
That's
our
true.
meetings.
That's right. Last time.
There's perks. All right, let's head down the Hood Canal to Mason County. Randy.
I got a little bit of an odd one, a different one that people wouldn't talk about. Here in Mason County, we're doing a extension. We're converting our roads and putting an extended shoulder everywhere so that we can quietly take advantage of things like having a bike lane without having a bike lane, having pedestrian lanes without having pedestrian lanes, having emergency access along the sides or creating better visibility during the rain, snow events and stuff like that. And if you go through Mason County, you're going to find it all over on our arterial roads because we have actually made it a priority and it's really having a great benefit. But again, it's not something anybody talks about. Nobody knows. We're just doing it quietly.
Cat's out of the bag now. Amy.
He stole my thunder. That was the underappreciated infrastructure that I was also going to mention. It's something that Mason County has been doing for a while, and I greatly appreciate it because it allows me to walk or bike throughout the county, and I don't have to take life in my hands and share the road on some of these blind corners. So I think they've been doing a great job, and I appreciate it.
Anyone else from Mason? Judy.
Yeah, Judy Scott, Port of Allen. I'll probably remember all kinds of things when we get done, but being an equestrian, I have to say some of the user-built trails, I know this is Department of Natural Resource, I'm not WashDOT, but still it is an infrastructure that people use extensively in this area in Kitsap and Mason County. And so I appreciate the trails. They're trails on 30,000 acres. They're multi-use motorcycle, hikers, bikers, and equestrian. So here we go.
Thank you. As we head up past Allen and Belfair, did we miss anyone in Mason County or Clallam actually? Okay, let's head north then up the Kitsap Peninsula, Port Orchard. Rob.
Morning, Port Orchard Mayor Rob Putansu, and I would say the Kitsap Transit Southworth Ferry from Southworth to downtown Seattle. That ferry is just fabulous for my community. It gives our folks a 25-minute trip to downtown Seattle and those jobs. So I think that's very underappreciated.
Rob, where's the best spot to park for that ferry?
The Harper Church. It's a huge park and ride lot, and it has a direct bus route. And next year, Kitsap Transit is building the Ruby Creek Park and Ride, which will be right off of Highway 16. And the bus will take you direct out. It'll take you out to the bus from there, so you wouldn't even have to drive out to Southworth probably in 2 years, about 2 years away, because they'll start construction next year.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Let's take that little foot ferry across to Bremerton. Wait, I saw Vicky.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good morning, everyone, and I apologize, I missed the question.
Vicky, we're just doing underappreciated transportation infrastructure in our region, and we can come back to you if you want. I can ping Ed. Ed, I actually don't know exactly where you're located, but we'll go to you next. Oh, sorry, I meant Ed Covello. Ed, I know you live in Poulsbo.
Oh,
sorry.
I think that I have two, but one is the lonely bus stop. Working on those every day and the needs of access to the bus stops. I really think it's underappreciated. And then the other one is sort of an aquatic transportation thing, that all the fish barrier projects that are going on in the region. I think, and those are going to have a really good impact on the region, but I don't think they're well known to the general public.
Thank you. And Amna, I assume you are in Bremerton right now, given that you're in the control room.
Yes, I'm in Brim. Person on PRTPO. I would say for me is just streetlights and sidewalks. I think being in a rural area, you really do remember how important they are and significant they are when they're not there. So I'm very happy for those two things. Should be more praised in between celebrations for other things that we have in a rural area.
All right, Vicky, how are things going on the street, Watson sidewalks in Bremerton? Sorry.
Well, I would have to agree with Alma that sidewalks and having a clear path without poles and stuff in your sidewalk and having the proper lighting is very appreciated, and we don't have enough of it. City of Bremerton, we have a couple projects we're working on now that plan to make that better on the corridor of Naval and the corridor of 6th Street with bike lanes and sidewalks and street lighting and RRFBs for crossings. And so we're looking forward to making those amenities more appreciated. But for me personally, I think the foot ferry, I live in Port Orchard, work in Bremerton, and the foot ferry I think is underappreciated. I would like to take it more often. However, I have that same problem. I think somebody else mentioned it's finding parking in order to take that foot ferry across, but I'm continuing to work on trying to find that out, but I think that is the best way to commute to work. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
It's that question of, do our bus riders become pedestrians or become drivers? So essential.
For boat riders.
Yeah, so we'll go up through West Bremerton because there's that amazing Thai restaurant right on the other side of the bridge. We'll stop there and then head up to Poulsbo for Ed Stern.
Morning, Lindsay. Ed Stern, Deputy Mayor, Paulsbo. I think our most unappreciated transportation is the transportation alternative, a public fiber optic broadband. I say that advisedly as your representative on the State Public Works Board. We had $1.3 billion coming in under the BEAD program for fiber optic for the entire state. And we almost lost that money, but the state was able to pivot to low Earth orbit satellite, if you can say Elon Musk, and that is not fiber optic. And Lindsay, I want to point out, as that is being used as a hookup alternative, there is no subsidy to the actual end user of unserved and underserved on the subscription rates. So I question how effective this is going to be, especially in the area of our lower economic demographics. So again, that's why public fiber optic broadband is especially not appreciated.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that for sure. Michael, how'd you know you were next?
It was just a guess. I was gonna say some of the historic bridges are pretty underappreciated. We've got some bridges that are 100 years old and still serving. Pretty impressive engineering design to last that long and still be functional. Originally, I was thinking of the draw spans over in Seattle, but then you said it would need to be in our region. So with the high steel bridge and bridges like that, pretty impressive, pretty cool. We'll dig back into history for that.
Thank you. All right, David.
Hi, good morning. David Fort, Kitsap County. I want to go along more with what Mason County was talking about is while it's everywhere, it's the biggest thing is just the county road system. It's there, but everybody doesn't actually talk about it. We talk about all the peripherals, the parts about it, but just the basic connectivity and how people just take it for granted. It's going to be there. It's always going to be there. And as part of that, but it is the core structure for everything for the regional connectivity. And it's just, the biggest, but also the least appreciated because it's always there. It's going to stay there or until it's not.
Thank you. Anyone else in Kitsap County? All right, let's do Thera and then Joe.
Good morning, everybody. Thera Black, your outgoing former coordinator in one of my last meetings with you. And I'm glad, Michael, you said the high steel bridge, so that way I don't have to choose. I think the underappreciated part of our infrastructure are our forest roads that we don't really, I think it's a huge untapped resource when we start thinking about resilience and coordination with other land management agencies and ways of getting around like when US 101 breaks. So a huge untapped opportunity that I hope PRTPO can sort of be a catalyst for instigating some change there in the future. So yeah, that's my choice there.
All right, I can't wait to drive over Bon John Pass with Thera on a field trip. Joe.
Yeah, hi everyone. Joe Kaladich. I'm a multimodal planner for WashDOT's Olympic region. I grew up in Port Townsend, so I'm a little biased, and I'll say that my favorite piece of underappreciated transportation infrastructure is the Route 14 bus that runs from the Kingston Ferry to downtown Port Townsend. I use that quite regularly, and I think it should be appreciated more.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody? I missed the Read AI meeting, but anyone else? All right, thank you. Thank you for sharing in those extended introductions. I know it takes a little more time, but I think it's valuable to get to know like what we value about the place we live and why we're doing this together. Because we do a lot of slogging through planning, but it makes a difference for everybody who lives in our communities. So consent agenda, we have approval of the agenda. Any suggested changes to the agenda for this meeting? All right. And then we also have for the consent agenda approval of minutes from August 15th. Any edits or changes to those minutes? All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar with the agenda for this meeting and the minutes from August 15th?
So moved. Mike French.
Thank you, Mike. A second by Ben is about to second it.
Sure.
Ben, would you second it?
Second.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, is there anyone opposed to approving the consent agenda? And just for clarification, that means unanimous consent. If you're silent, you agree to it. If you object, we then go to a vote. I don't hear anyone objecting, so by unanimous consent, we approve the consent calendar. Thank you. Next up is approval of the 2024 Transportation Outlook Legislative Folio, and I think I'm passing this to Amna.
Yep, it goes to me. I would like to begin by saying there's a typo on the agenda. This is 2024 Transportation Outlook, but this is regarding the 2026 Transportation Outlook. So as you guys know, the portfolio is formatted as a brief to keep the region's 12 legislators informed about particular interests for PRTPO members and any needs ahead of upcoming session. Draft of this was given to the TAC in September, and they did not have any comments. However, when the portfolio was routed back to the work group, there was one comment regarding the Hood Canal, which included support for activities of a group called Long Live the Kings. Since it's not discussed by the work group or the board earlier, and given the tight space restraints within the document itself, we did not make the changes at this point. However, the board can consider this as part of the discussion. And it could be involved in the next year's portfolio, in 2027. The ask of the board today is to express any needed corrections and then to approve the final folio. With that approval, upon approval by the board, the draft will then be finalized and distributed to legislators and stakeholders. It will replace the 2026 folio on the website and other informal informational outlets. Lindsay will work with us to develop an invitation to the 12 regional legislators for the to be invited to the December board meeting. The December board meeting would include the annual forum as the first hour of the regular scheduled meeting. So the ask for today is to express any needed corrections and then to approve the folio. So that's it. I will hand it over to Lindsay.
Thank you. Thanks for the briefing. I know I read 2024. I was like, wait, am I confused? Thank you. No worries on that. Let's see. I know, Wendy, you reached out and had some, I think they were more like edit level. So just procedurally, I think let's like, if there's any like corrections, we have a lot of projects and, you know, like subject matter experts throughout the room. So Wendy, can I turn it over to you for like the list of things that you had?
Sure. The Long Live the Kings comment that Amna was mentioning is in reference to that there's 3 PRTPO board members, Christine Rolfus, Commissioner Mike French, and myself, that are participating with Long Live the Kings planning study. And it is a pretty major study. And so I thought that we should at least acknowledge or integrate to be able to know that when we say here in our thing, yet no analysis of the operational and economic impacts of Hood Canal bridge closures exist, on the last paragraph of page 1, that this is not old news, because this new study is looking at everything. And they also have a Coast Guard member part of their steering review committee. So just making sure that we have our ducks in a row, that when we talk to our legislators, that they know that there's a massive study going on about the Hood Canal Bridge and that we are part of it. I could put the project list in the nutshell that there's too many Kitsap County projects and not enough projects that are on the legislative budget. So we need to fix that and take advantage of all the empty space on the project list page. And my edits are very significant to the tribe and maybe to others, because all I've reviewed is legislative district number 24, but others may agree in Mason County that there needs to be additional Mason County projects on this, maybe not. But I'll leave that open for other people to speak up. But I've pursued this as a legislative work group and a TAC member that these changes need to happen, because otherwise there's some very old news here that clashes with the legislative budget. Those are my comments.
I heard a very concrete edit in regard to the yet no analysis of the operational and economic impacts of the canal closure exists, and replace that with the Long Live the Kings study will editing on the fly is hard, so suggested language would be great if somebody has a suggested amendment to that sentence, but that's very specific. And then you mentioned a couple very broad changes that I don't know how to handle right now, so I'm definitely looking for direction or motions to amend from the body. Anyone else want to comment? All right.
Then I will make a motion to put the US 101 safety corridor project on the project list, and to correct the name of the swim project so it accurately reflects the legislative budget. It's US 101, Simdar's bypass.
Second.
Thank you.
We'll get you on, Lindsay, Chair.
Procedurally, we didn't have a motion to adopt, but I'm going to say, is there an objection to assuming that motion to amend this? Well, never mind. Let's just treat it like a motion to amend. So we have this draft, and the motion before us is to put the US 101 Safety Corridor project on the list and correct the 101 Simdar's bypass. That was seconded by Mike. Are there any discussion on the motion? Ed?
Yeah, I just want to clarify before the motion moves forward. On the US 101 safety project, what is the status of the funding for that project? That way, you know, if the project's already securely funded, then we probably don't need it on here, but if it's still being funds.
No, it's not secure. It has to be re-lobbied again. We have
Okay.
our lobbyists going back to the session to make sure that it stays within the 27-29 biennium.
Okay. And is it
So
in
it's
a
2 years
tip
worth of
somewhere?
lobbying.
Is it in a tip
Yeah.
yet? Okay.
And it's in the RTP.
Okay.
And it's actually called US 101/ODT Safety Corridor.
Sorry, I keep muting myself and forgetting to unmute. Any further discussion on the amendment to put the US 101/ODT Safety Corridor project on the list and correct the name of the 101 Simdar bypass project? Hearing no further discussion, is there any objection to that amendment to the draft to put the US 101 and ODT Safety Corridor project on the list and correct the 101 Simdar bypass? Hearing no objection, that passes by unanimous consent. Any other edits or changes to this document? Thera?
Hi, I told Amna I would not do this, but here I am doing it. I just want to clarify that last paragraph on page 1, that no analysis, would it be, because the ask that's associated with that paragraph, which is at the top of page 2, is for the legislature to appropriate funding to WashDOT. Would a suitable correction be yet no WashDOT analysis of the operational and economic impacts of Hood Canal Bridge closure exists? Would that be a suitable edit to that? We're very space constrained, and to explain other studies that are getting underway or going on. I mean, this is a very specific to the subsequent ask. So just trying to clarify what the correction is.
Thank you, Thera. Wendy, I saw your thumbs up there.
I would agree. It's a very simple change that puts the control back into DOT, that they're pursuing something that's important. Long Live the Kings can do their thing in collaboration with the DOT, and the two should come together and make this happen.
All right. So it sounds like there's not a need to specifically reference the Long Lives the Kings study, if I understand that correctly.
There is a very constrained space, so I think Thera's comment was very wise.
All right. So is there a motion to add WashDOT to the sentence, yet no analysis of the operational economic impact of Hood Canal Bridge closures exists? So that would say, yet no WashDOT analysis of the operational economic impacts of the Hood Canal Bridge closures exist. Would somebody make that motion, please?
So moved.
Ben made the motion. Second. Is there a second?
Rachel Anderson, seconds.
All right, Rachel, I'll take yours since Mike's made some before. Everyone wants to share. All right, any discussion of that amendment to add yet no WashDOT analysis? Hearing no discussion, is there any objection to that amendment? Hearing no objection, that passes. We will add yet no WashDOT analysis of the operational economic impacts of Hood Canal Bridge closures exist. Any other edits to this document? Any other discussion? Is there a motion to, help me find the motion. Is there a motion to approve the draft legislative folio and distribute it to our legislators, our state legislators, and invite them to our December meeting?
So moved.
I heard a lot of that. I'll take Ed's. And who made the other? We'll take that as a second.
Judy.
Judy, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, is there any objection to approving the legislative folio with the amendments that we just made? Distributing to our lawmakers and asking them, our state lawmakers, and asking them to come to our December meeting. Hearing no objection, that passes by unanimous consent. Thank you, and thank you all for working through some edits in the big meeting here. All right, next up is our state fiscal year 2026. Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss something?
I would like to add I would also like to ask if there's any type of approach that the board would like to have for the meeting in December for the forum. Is there any, do you guys want to have presentations? Do you guys just want to have a simple meeting? In particular, you want to do at the forum?
Thank you. That's a great question. In the past, we often have had a challenge of bringing our lawmakers, our state lawmakers, to these meetings. But we usually get at least one. I think that is still worth it. And, you know, we can put out a push. Amna and I can work on that. As well as anyone else, if you run into state reps or senators between now and then, please feel free to remind them that, hey, this is important to, you know, on the ground, like what would happen if we couldn't drive around our region or move around in other ways. And then in terms of presentation, I think the more that we can show how valuable the PRTPO is for regional planning and that we are a source for our state representatives to come to and get best practice and best plans for what we're doing in our region, I think the more valuable that can be. Obviously, half an hour is a very short period of time. So it's
1
really,
hour, sorry.
oh, okay.
Correction,
Yeah, no
first
worries.
hour.
1 hour. It's a short period of time, but it also like is a chance for us to collectively show like our network and what we do together, and build those relationships as a group. That's my take. I'd love to hear from others about like what works or maybe also what doesn't in that hour in December. All right. And no, we can talk more about it between now and then for sure.
No problem.
All right. If there's no other comments on that, we will move on to our next agenda item, which is the state fiscal year 2026 to 2031 PRTPO RTIP. Back to Amna.
Okay, so the state federal year 2026-2031 PRTPO RTIP is finally ready for adoption. The projects were submitted by members and are include either in the PRTPOs or PSRC's RTIP, or they're been originated from a adopted tribe tip. A port improvement CIP or a TDP. The TAP reviewed the RTIP and RTIP project list in September. And provided value information in developing the first list. The TAC recommended board approval of the 2026-2031 regional improvement program with the Appendix A 2026 RTP project list. The board is asked to approve the resolution 07-2025 adopting the RTIP with this Appendix A, the 2026 RTP transition list. Upon adoption, the RTIP will be forwarded to WashDOT, where applicable projects from its first 4 years will be aggregated, will be added to the forms from other RTPOs across the state into the 2029 STIP described, you know, that has been developed before. If you have any additional questions, I would direct you back to Ed, since he's the one been working on this for any clarifications. But the ask is to approve the resolution to adopt the RTIP today.
Thank you. I guess, Ed, do you want to add anything more at this point?
No, happy RTIP day. And I hope everything goes well. I'm kind of anxious to begin submitting the projects to local programs. Those are projects with secured funding, so we can help our members deliver important transportation projects.
All right. It sounds like you're ready to go with like those browser windows or something. All right.
I
Any
am.
discussion or any questions about the RTIP? Is there a motion to adopt the Regional Transportation Improvement Plan?
So moved, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Second.
Second, Amy Asher, Mason Transit.
Thank you, Amy. Any further discussion? Any objection to approving state fiscal year 2026 to 2031 PRTPO Regional Transportation Improvement Program? Hearing no objection, that is approved by unanimous consent. Thank you all. Thanks for all the work that went into that. I know it's a big process, even though it just took 2 minutes on the agenda.
Thank you, and I look forward to next year's holiday.
Thank you. Nice work, everybody. Wendy, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is for anyone or Ed specifically. Was there any projects from Jefferson County or the city of Port Townsend this year?
There were not. I worked with the city of Port Townsend, and they're still working on some things, so they didn't quite make the deadline. So that's just, where we stand, and I have not heard from Jefferson this year.
Thank you for the question, Wendy.
It's a hard one, but yeah.
Oh, was that a piece of public shaming, or what's the background there?
It's not about public shaming. It's just for me trying to, elevate the purpose of the RTIP and making sure that everyone grasps the opportunity if the timing is right for them. I hope that there is the future segments of the Olympic Discovery Trail that are in Jefferson County that work their way around Discovery Bay. I think as a PRTPO, we need to keep that project as a regional corridor project. And I'd like to think that I would be happy to submit it to Ed if I could, but I can't. So that's the only public shame, as I feel.
Thank you. And is there an opportunity to add projects through the year, or is it only
Yes.
a one shot? Ed, go ahead.
Yes, if a member wants to add projects to the regional TIP, they can bring it before you as the board. They can also amend existing projects depending on the level of amendment. We can do it administratively, or for major amendments, come back to the board for a request. Additionally, many of the jurisdictions that have not submitted projects for the RTIP also just submit projects directly to the STIP. Because the RTIP is essentially voluntary in most cases. For instance, with Port Townsend, I've been working with them on some STIP amendments for this current fiscal year to get those projects forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get an amendment from Port Townsend to add projects into the RTIP for 2026.
Yeah.
We'll see and go from there.
Yeah.
All right. So the lobbying potential for Port Townsend or Jefferson County is still there, and potentially every day is RTIP day. So yeah, keep it coming. Thank you for that, Wendy. Thank you, Ed, for all your work. Anything else on the RTIP before we move on? All right. Next up, we have a discussion on the election of 2026 to 2027 PRTPO officers and nominations. I confess I should be more prepared to say who I pass this to, because I feel like this is maybe not directly to Amna, but maybe Amna, you can like brief us on where we're at. Otherwise, I can try and punt. Maybe I should actually make a baseball metaphor, but maybe that would be bad taste.
I have a brief thing to say about it, and then you can correct me and we can go from there. That's totally fine. So as you guys know, officers serve about serves a 2-year term beginning at the end of the meeting in which they're elected. Due to the pending vacancy of the executive committee with Lindsay and Ben, The board has decided to, last month, in August, we decided to hold the officer elections for 2025 with the effective start date of January 2026. After discussing this with the board, the executive committee has identified these candidates. This is what we talked about previously, on the docket, which would be nominated. So to consider nominations for chair, it will be Greg Brotherton from Jefferson County, and this will be his first 2-year term. For vice chair, there's a nomination for Mike French from Qualam County, was first 2-year term, and then also the same level of terms. For secretary, we're looking at Amy Asher from Mason Trent. Additional nominations can come from anyone else on the board. Anyone can chime in someone else or chime in yourself if you want to be part of this nomination process. But the election is slated for December 19th executive board meeting, after the forum in the first hour. So that's what I got here.
Thank you. This is here for discussion, and FYI, as much as we love competitive elections, it's also fantastic that we have Greg and Mike and Amy stepping forward for these 3 roles. So thank you. Honestly, we were a little nervous about being able to twist arms enough to fill these. So I really appreciate you all. And at the same time, if anyone else is thinking they want to serve on the executive committee, the sooner you come forward, the better. But of course, we can take excitement in the December meeting. But at this point, my guess is that in December, we will be moving to appoint Greg Brotherton as chair, Mike French as vice chair, and Amy Asher as secretary. Any other discussion? All right. Well, thank you again. I know Greg's not here, which always makes me nervous when the future chair is not at the meeting. But Mike and Amy, thank you both.
I've texted them a few times here, no response, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we were in a meeting last night, and it all works out. Different topic though. All right. Anything further on the officer nominations? Great. Well, before we move on to, I just want to say thank you to our staff for helping to facilitate that process and bringing that up and recognizing the need to expedite that process, given Ben and my not running for re-election this year and terming out at the end of the year. Thank you. Next up, we have the World Cup. Go M's. Oh, wait, wrong sport. All right, briefing. Amna, go ahead for that.
Okay, so there's been a lot of conversation about FIFA 2026 World Cup, which will be held here in Seattle. Some of the games will be held here. There have been several meetings and working groups happening in the region. There's a national and regional meetings related to transit, ban zone coordination, and there's even a conference from the previous host country trying to transfer information and knowledge from their experience in Seattle about, I think, 3 weeks ago. After questions about the event at last meeting, I thought that a briefing would be helpful to the group on current considerations and concerns related to the games that are happening related to FIFA. This is a briefing, someone cares, this is a briefing, but I'm seeking direction from I'm seeking direction from the board regarding how to engage any legislators or in concerns about the Hood Canal Bridge. And so that'll be discussed later in this section, but here's a briefing. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be held from June 11th to July 19th in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. There's to be a total of 104 games that we played during the World Cup. Seattle will be hosting 6 of those games, June 15th, June 19th, June 24th, and June 26th, as well as July 1st and July 6th. The fan zones will be areas where potentially all games will be aired on large screens throughout the entire World Cup. The fan zones will be in Olympia, Tacoma, Bremerton, Everett, Bellingham, and a fan fest will be held in Seattle Center. That's different in the fan zone. Is a festival that occurs during the entire World Cup that hosts concerts and significant events. Seattle Center intends to have the area activated the entire time. The fan zones, as I said before, are smaller areas, such in Brim and Everett. They plan to have only have additional activities during the actual game days that are happening in Seattle. So only for 6, so they only will have 6 activations. The activities can include performances, team visits, or vendors. It depends on what's being planned. It's still up in the air right now. But I would want to mention that in addition to games happening in Seattle, there's also games happening in Vancouver, right across the border. And they will have games on June 18th, 21st, 24th, 26th, July 2nd, and July 7th, which kind of coincides with our dates as well. So it's kind of like one in the northern part, and you may have an influx there. Planning for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the region has been due to it's been very slow due to limited information provided by FIFA. FIFA will conduct the draw of who will be playing and when on December 5th of 2025. And at that time it's expected to initiate fan interest in purchasing plane tickets and match tickets, as well as hotel reservations. One FIFA match has been said to be equivalent to 4 Super Bowls. To attendance as well as tourism. The fan zones are anticipated to attract a large crowd of fans seeking a place to watch the games and commiserate with fellow fans. Additionally, there's expected high volumes of traffic and transit usage throughout the Puget Sound. With all that being said, this is an opportunity for activations around the peninsula within our area, because of visitors coming to Puget Sound in general. Not just folks going to Seattle, but folks potentially going to Vancouver and kind of going in between those areas. So I just wanted to bring it to attention that that's what happened in certain dates. And from there, I'll pass it over to you to lead the discussion. If there's any discussion around this, or any questions for me.
Thank you. And we also have a draft letter. I'm trying to figure out if we need board approval for that. I guess
it's attached.
Yeah, so that's attached. And I'll just clarify, that is to our congressional members, so our 2 senators and Congressmember Emily Randall, who represents our entire region. And so they are not going to be at our December meeting because that's for our state reps. So I think I will ask if there's a motion for approving that letter. But before that, any questions for Amna? Any further discussion on FIFA, the World Cup? I'll just add, often these giant sport events spur infrastructure development, but they don't necessarily spur it in a way that lasts for the well-being of the community. And so there's an opportunity to try to kind of tread against that current and figure out if there's ways to make our regional transportation system. I'm thinking buses like Jefferson Transit number 14, the Kingston Express, Clallam Transit Straight Shot, the Fast Ferry network that Kitsap Transit runs. Because obviously if 4 Super Bowl worth of fans are trying to commute by car, that's going to be a disaster. So really we're looking at how do pedestrians use public transit and that over land and over sea to get to these events. So that's kind of why I'm really excited. Amna, thank you so much for diving into the details of this, and I see Wendy's hand.
Yeah, I just had some more comments about what we heard the last time we met in August 15th. I believe it was from John Clausen. he said that, you know, I'm reading about the fan zones in the letter, but there's such a far-reaching impact that will head its way to the North Olympic Peninsula. I think he was saying that there's not enough lodging and that people will be beyond on the other side of the Hood Canal Bridge looking for places to stay. So are we thinking still that people are just going to add on to their sports activities and go explore the region, and that's what's going to create the transportation impact? Or is it just there's not going to be enough infrastructure to hold, what is it, 4 Super Bowls per each game? That's a lot of people. So is there some more background that we're going to continue to meet together about this to be somewhat aware of the impact and understand the need?
Amna, do you want to? I have some thoughts on that, but I'll defer to you first.
What I would say is that there is conversations about trip patterns and how people will move and how people will enjoy the game. There are folks, there's information that was given from Qatar, the previous host of the World Cup in 2022, that mentioned that people do come to the host areas without tickets to the game. Barely trying to go to the match. They're trying to be around the area where the match is being held. Those folks can potentially they could potentially arrive sooner. The main reason why is because people have to get their visas to come to the US, Mexico, and so they're turning the World Cup as a catalyst for them to come here, but they can come earlier or stay later. So with that assumption on this side of the water that folks will want, that they could potentially get hotels and everything on the Seattle side, but then before or after the games end, they may want to have a hotel, something maybe, you know, in Port Townsend or somewhere in Port Angeles, because it's a different vibe there. So it is really up to the visitor, but it's kind of uncharted territory, the way that this World Cup will be held, because it's held between 3 different countries. Usually it's only held in one country at a time that has multiple cities that are held. And so we don't really have any information right now about plane tickets or game tickets right now, because folks are waiting for December 5th when you're able to get the information about where and when. So until then, we kind of in the air about all of that. There are meetings happening region, but most of those are related to transportation movement and mostly related on transit or the host city. For instance, FIFA should be releasing their playbook about branding and wayfinding and all the legal stuff today around noon or something of that sort. So that's how close we are to right now for understanding what's going on. So it's really up in the air. I do think if we wanted to have a work group or people who want to meet together to discuss ways to leverage the World Cup. So let's say if people are really trying to come earlier after the World Cup, then they may want to activate your cities to have events or something, to like watch parties, something of that sort. Or, you know, try to think of having some of your events in coordination with FIFA. This random ideas around that, but the main thing that we were concerned about and wanted to bring to the board was regarding the Hood Canal Bridge, because there's an expectation that it could a passage between on the Hood Canal Bridge. And so the letter is reached with dedicated trying to seek any kind of temporary halt on the usage of the drawbridge in order to keep movement between the area easy and smooth. But yeah, I hope I answered your question, Wendy. It was long-winded, but it's a lot happening.
No. That is exactly what I was hoping you could catch us all up on. But when I think of like when we were building the Hood Canal Bridge with the new pontoons, we had to rely on our transit agencies to shuttle people because we knew that there was like not the capacity, or when there was a ferry terminal being built, we had to bring people to the ferry terminal and let them become pedestrians. There wasn't enough room for cars on the ferry for meeting the demand. We had that all sort of figured out ahead of time. So I'm wondering if there was a need for FIFA or whomever in the city of Seattle to reach out to the PRTPO jurisdictions to say, how can you bring people to us without their cars?
Yeah, and I think it's on us to make that why am I blanking the term, like transit literacy easily available to the fans who are coming for the FIFA events.
Yeah.
Big picture, our region does not need more visitors in July and in June and July, right? Like we have a great event already. It's called Summer in the Pacific Northwest. But so this will stretch our tourism capacity for sure. And I think it's fair to imagine that people coming from other parts of the world or even other parts of the United States will say, hey, I'm also going to visit that UNESCO World Heritage Site and Biosphere Reserve that is Olympic National Park, probably similar for Mount Rainier, maybe North Cascades. And there's going to be a lot of interest in making the most of a trip to the Pacific Northwest in the summer. I think it's reasonable to expect people to look at going between Seattle and Vancouver. And the more that we make the transit literacy of explore the Salish Sea, you can take a ferry to Victoria and a bus up and another ferry to Tsawwassen and be in downtown Vancouver. And you don't need a car for all of that. I think that the more that we can encourage people to do this trip without renting a car, I think the easier it's going to be on our transportation system. And yeah, so that's been personally like an aspiration of like, could people come and visit Olympic National Park without having to rent a car? But if this summer is going to be when it's going to like really matter for our transit system. So I think the question is maybe really like, can Clallam Transit, Jefferson Transit, Kitsap, and maybe even Mason, honestly. I don't mean to minimize Mason's role here, but Shelton's hotel capacity is going to be tapped too. Like share out, hey, this is how you can get from these small towns into Seattle, into the other fan zones without having to bring a car. And the further from Seattle that people leave their car or don't have a car, probably the easier it's going to be on the entire transit system. That's my 2 cents. Mayor Putasin.
Yeah, I don't think it's realistic that FIFA is going to do anything for us, to be honest. And I know our community is programming about $35,000 of our lodging tax dollars into marketing. We already have just this, like Lindsay was saying, we already have fabulous events we do, and we're not planning anything more, but we are going to the events we do hold, we're going to try to do them better, and make sure they're worthy of a memorable experience. But we're using that to market and then tell people how to get to us via the ferries and other modes of transportation. Because, yeah, we don't have, fortunately, I do have those direct connections to the Seattle market, and that's how we're going to. With the ferry. So that's how we're going to market it. But I think it's on each of our communities then to utilize, using social media, your websites, and your potentially your lodging tax dollars to promote how to get to your community and have a great experience.
Very fair point. I guess even just putting FIFA World Cup in the text of the regional bus routes is going to help with search engine optimization for those things. So I mean that can be a 5-minute edit that will make a difference for people finding those buses. So thank you, Rob. Any other discussion? We also have that letter. shall ask for a motion for. Thera.
Hi, everyone. I am particularly, yeah, if we're going to go to that letter, that for everybody's benefit, that came up as a part of, I think was it, Lindsay, remind me, I think it was the executive committee discussion before this meeting about how the importance of Hood Canal Bridge reliability, operational reliability, to do just exactly what you all are talking about for the transit, to drive more travel onto transit. In addition to our 4 transit agencies and the Dungeness line, there are likely to be charter operators as well. A lot of folks from other countries expect to travel by transit. And in order for the transit to work, as well as for just families, just regular tourists having nothing to do with FIFA, Hood Canal Bridge reliability, operational reliability is really important. And so the idea came up in the executive committee of could our federal legislators ask the Coast Guard to temporarily put some restrictions, more restrictions on when the bridge will open for recreational sailboat travel. Seeing it sort of as an opportunity, while there is still, PRTPO still has a long range intent of changing permanently Coast Guard policies to create more predictability for all travelers. This presented itself as a pretty unique opportunity. The bridge policies cannot be changed without Coast Guard approval. And so, I drafted this letter and just as a starting point to get feedback from you all. I don't even know if you would want to do this, but if you do want to do this letter, this would be a pretty good time to, or soon, very soon would be appropriate to get it in so that all those, the Coast Guard would have to publish a notice of proposed rulemaking. I think that's at least a 45-day thing. I have no idea how that's operating right now during the shutdown, but that's why we wanted to, even though it wasn't really billed as an action item, we wanted just even to see if you wanted to do this, and if so, what kind of, is this close? Does it just need a few tweaks, or do we need to put together a little working group to figure out appropriately, how to appropriately reach out to them?
Thank you, Thera. Thanks for the additional background. I think that the urgency around FIFA presents a good opportunity to make this an issue that isn't just a continuous back burner issue. So I am interested if someone would make a motion to send this letter to our Congress members.
So moved.
I second.
Moved by Ben, seconded by Wendy. Any discussion or any suggested edits to the letter?
Nothing of import except just to say this is such a brilliant idea, and I think this is, you got to take that momentum and go with it.
I know, and they have nothing else to work on right now either, so it's perfect timing. Yeah.
Something positive, yeah.
Yeah. Something doable, right? Sorry, we should stop with those jokes, huh? All right, any further discussion? I will say I really like quoting the Federal Register. I love it. The lawyer in me is just like oozing joy with that. All right, hearing no further discussion, any objection to sending this letter to Senators Murray, Cantwell, and Representative Randall? Hearing no objection, that is approved by unanimous consent. Thank you. Any other discussion regarding FIFA World Cup planning, that sort of thing? Amna, I assume you're going to continue to track and involve and please whatever capacity you have. That is so useful for us to have that intel. So thank you for that. All right, we're moving on to our next item. Which is Ben's comment. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was trying to find the hand raise button. It disappears sometimes. Yeah, I just wonder if we could get a copy of this letter, maybe a little better formatted, because I would like to share it with this. I just like to give my city council an update that we are working on this, and I just think it's good for them to know about. And I just wonder if I can get a copy of this letter with it's a request, I guess, to
So I had offered to Amna to do sort of the follow-up on it. So I will send it when I get it finalized, and I'll run it past Lindsay, and obviously it'll be signed by him. And then I'll CC, and so I'll send a copy. I'll just sort of put a CC PRTPO Executive Board, and then we'll also make sure our state legislators have a copy as well. And maybe this could be something, to juice the interest in coming to the forum in December. So it'd be really good for all of our state reps and Secretary of Transportation to know that we're asking this as well.
And I think just any elected official knowing that there's something active going on, or at least a request going on here, is, I think, worth sharing around. So because they get requests all the time too, about this topic.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And Thera, thank you so much for continuing to take the reins. I'm assuming you're going to volunteer on this post PRTPO as a passion project, if that's fair to say.
This is definitely a passion project, both as a sailor and as a traveler and as your former regional coordinator. So yes, I'm very happy to help as best as I can from the wings on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, these are public meetings. You're always welcome back. We might even, let you unmute whenever you want. That'll be up to Greg Brotherton, actually. All right. All right. Thank you. Anything else on FIFA World Cup, Hood Canal Bridge? All right. Moving on to the PRTPO Executive Board retreat. Amna.
Yeah. Okay. So regarding the retreat, at the last meeting, the retreat was decided to take place next year, either on April 17th or October 16th. So to begin the planning effort, it will be helpful to have the decided date. And I want to bring this back up in order to get a vote on either April 17th, 2026 or October 2026 for the executive board retreat. Which will be at Jamestown, on the gracious of them being able to host that PRTPO retreat. So can we get a vote?
All right. So I think we're holding both those dates. April 17th is a Friday, and I was just checking my calendar on what the October date is. Has anyone found which day of the week that is?
Yes, it's a Friday as well.
All right. So both Fridays. Does anyone want to make a pitch for one or the other of those dates?
April would be better. Oftentimes small ports, being that I'm on a port, they have theirs usually in October, so perhaps April.
Thank you, Judy.
I'll also second the pitch for April. October, we're in the thick of budgeting season, and I'm not going to want to travel more than I have to.
October is also budget season for counties usually, so third April.
All right, Edward.
Yeah, I just want to also note that if it's in April, if you want for the Human Services Transportation Plan, that might be a good time to have, some type of session on that. Because we're going to be asking you, the board, for permission to put out our request for proposal to hire a consultant for the HSTP. We're going to ask you in December. So just, it's just something that could, if you choose, we could have a workshop or something.
Thank you, Edward. Anyone want to speak against the April 17th date? Anyone like, hey, I can't make that, but I could make the October one? All right. I'm hearing a lot for April 17th. Is there a motion to hold our 2026 in-person board retreat in the, I assume, Red Cedar Hall of the Jamestown Tribal Campus on October 17th, 2026?
April 7th.
Did I say October? I'm sorry. Yes. April. I really screwed that one up big time, didn't I?
No, I heard April.
Oh, okay. April 17th, 2026. Motion for April 17th.
So moved.
All right, Judy. Second.
I will second. Rachel Anderson.
Rachel Anderson, any further discussion? Any objection? Oh, Edward.
Just want to confirm, Wendy, that that'll
Mhm.
work for the tribe.
Yes, those were the date. That was a date that Sarah worked with me.
Thank you so
We've
much.
already, it's available.
Cool.
Thank you. And thank you for holding those dates. Any further discussion? Any objection to April 17th in person? It'll be beautiful. The flowers will be on the big leaf maple trees. All right, we are going to April 17th in Jamestown. Put that on your planner now. You know, probably plan the whole day. We want to make the most of being in person. And so the goal, I'm going to say the goal, even though I won't be chairing at that point, the goal is to have the in-person be really valuable, have it be a way for us to have that connection and camaraderie and networking that comes together in an in-person space. It's very hard to do in a Zoom space. So I think we've been able to have more regional connection, especially for the West End, by having these meetings on Zoom. But by coming together, once a year, in person, I think we can also have that valuable connection and make these Zoom meetings more valuable as a team as well. So Ben, go ahead.
Oh, I just noting that you're making it sound like you're going to be there. Is that true?
I'm going to put it on my calendar and we'll see what happens.
I'll put it on mine too. It will.
Yeah.
Reunion.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion? We approved April 17th. Any other discussion on the board retreat? All right. Next up, we have public comment. I don't believe anybody is here from the public, but please correct me if I'm
No.
mistaken.
No one is here physically, no.
All right. Ed, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to clarify on the RTIP and RTP project list, we received no public comment.
Thank you. All right, moving past public comment. Member updates. Raise your hand if you want to give an update. Wendy.
Thank you. I wanted to correct that the website for Long Live the Kings is abetterbridge.org. It's a brand new website. It's up live now, and there is an opportunity at the top right hand of the homepage is to take a survey, and it's the expressed wish of the Long Live the Kings staff and their consultant is that we distribute as many of the surveys as possible. I just put it in our Jamestown newsletter so that our employees and citizens can get a hold of that. And it's through this process that we're learning to appreciate the cultural, historical, environmental. They're trying to grasp on all aspects of what having a major linkage across the Hood Canal is, more than just salmon. But it's their goals are in the right place, and I heartily encourage people to support their organization by taking the survey and providing public comment.
Thank you, Wendy, and thanks to all the PRTPO members who are part of that. Appreciate that. Any other member updates? Going once. Going twice. All right, our next executive board meeting is December 20th from 10 to noon. And that we're going to have the first hour be our legislative forum. So again, if you see any of our state lawmakers, please remind them December 20th. Not yet the holidays, but getting pretty close. Mike, do you want to say something?
Sorry, so no November meeting, is that what you just said?
Yeah, I believe, just to make sure, I'm reading off the agenda, but just in case there's a typo.
That's correct.
Other than
It's
Thanksgiving.
December.
Yes,
Thank you.
December 20th from 10 to noon.
And December 20th is a Saturday, so I'm assuming there must be a typo on whatever you're reading off of. So the meeting I have on my calendar is December 19th, which is a Friday.
Yeah, I apologize. I am reading the minutes off the website. So that is a typo. All right. December 19th, a Friday, as we typically have our meetings. Thank you, Amy, so much for that correction. And then again, mark your calendar for April 17th. Somebody please check me if I said the wrong date there. That should be also a Friday. And if there is no further comments, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.